Hello. Welcome to this episode of the FANMEN podcast. I'm DJ Gove.
Chris Davis.
Sean Hogarty.
In a virtual life presence device.
Yes, I am remote.
We have the disembodied voice of Sean.
The Sean Pad. He's like a Futurama head.
I am remote, just like my wife.
We have a black screen just sitting where you should be, Sean.
Sorry, Jen. I love you. It was just too easy a joke.
You see like a frying pan get whipped at him over in the sky.
He may not make it through this episode.
She can't hear me. She's upstairs.
So, Sean, why don't you tell the people why you're not here?
So I'm not here because of the wonder of seventh grade school musicals. My daughter was in one, so I get to watch her act and sing inaudibly in the background.
Nice. And what part was
awesome.
she playing?
She was one of Ursula's tentacles. And occasionally carried a fish on a stick around.
You can.
She's got a future at Disney World.
There you go.
That's essentially what they do with that live action Little Mermaid show.
There'll be a charity link listed below for Sean's GoFundMe.
No.
That sounds like the worst food truck experience, fish on a stick.
Fish on a stick.
That sounds
especially
awful.
For me.
Oh, God. I wouldn't touch it.
Oh, God. Well, not a very busy week. Little bit of news that means something to me, but probably not the two of you guys, is the Sony PlayStation game The Last of Us. Possibly my favorite story in a video game ever. Is headed to HBO for a series. Thank God. Yeah. Sounds like they're going to fill in. It's going to start off the end of the game and then fill in the time between the first and second game, which is about 5 years.
So for those of us that haven't played the game, do you anticipate that they will recap or that they will make it unimportant or what?
I think they'll lay the framework with probably some text or something, then they'll do flashbacks to certain things. But you can actually catch up with all the story. There's a movie on YouTube. If you really want to get nuts, you can not play the game, watch the YouTube movie with all the cutscenes and be caught up.
Yeah.
But the story's awesome. I think you guys have I grabbed you guys copies of the game.
They re-released it, last year?
So yeah, like a year and a half. For the PlayStation, but for the 4. But the second one's coming out in May, so this was like prime news. I wish they had dropped it at PAX, but Sony didn't go to PAX because they were scared of the flu.
You're lucky PAX took place.
Yeah, that's true. Lucky's a strong word.
Yeah. Well, it was telling, and it's a comment from you when you were at PAX, commenting on the unwashed masses and the per capita body odor that was there, which is probably driving a lot of the fear with these other conventions.
That's true. There was a lot of sweat. There was a lot of fleece in that place. There was a lot of sweatpants. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still. So we had that, and then we had the first images came out of Robert Pattinson's Batmobile.
Oh, so pretty.
Or
yeah, I liked it.
It was John Wick's car. I stand by that.
For the first time, you have a Batmobile that looks like somebody could have actually made it without needing a $1 billion R&D budget.
Yes, it does look mean.
It looks like it belongs on Mad Max Fury Road 2.
A little bit. You know where? Now I'm going to completely be dating myself. This may be a little before DJ's time, but maybe not. You kind of grew up with the TV as your babysitter.
Yep.
When they started to do the TV movies for the Knight Rider reboots, they'd have these little one-offs, and then they started to get a little younger and edgier, and it's like Michael in East LA, when you had a whole Puerto Rican chop shop putting together when they really literally rebuilt Kit into something like that. It kind of reminded me of that. We have body armor now. We have the red lights in the back, the whole thing. I'm like, that would be Kit if, a chop shop in East LA put this together for him.
Sean, what do you think of the Batmobile?
I'm usually pretty open to anything. The images that they've shown don't give me as much as I would like to actually make a judgment call, but I definitely don't dislike fundamentally just it looks realistic. It looks functional. It doesn't look like something that is, I need to make a Batmobile, right? It looks like a dark, powerful vehicle for somebody who wants to be able to get around fast and tough in the dark.
It looks like somebody
So
that
I
would
like
be,
it.
yeah, somebody that's taking their first steps into being a vigilante that doesn't have all the toys at his disposal.
Yeah. What I like, I don't know if it's just my eyes playing tricks on me or if I might just be making it up because I'm a crazy person. The shot of the back of it, with the way the fins came up and where the afterburners are, looks like the old 1940s Batmobile with the bat head on the front of it. Kind of has that look from the back, which I thought was kind of cool.
It kind of gives you the engine, gives you that.
Yeah, and then
shape.
because the suit kind of has like that 30s look too with the higher ears and stuff like that. So it's like a mix between like the original, like the first run Batman and like the Arkham stuff kind of. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I definitely. It doesn't take away anything from my interest level in the movie. It doesn't necessarily add to it, but I'm definitely going in relatively neutral. Like I'm not getting my hopes up, and I'm not assuming it's going to suck just because I'm not a huge Rob Pattinson guy. But the ingredients are there for something that I think I could really like.
Sean is the Switzerland of movie viewers.
For the ones that he actually ends up seeing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I'm fairly confident you'll see this one pretty close to opening weekend.
Yeah.
With the interest level you have in the subject matter.
Yeah, no, we're going to make him go see it opening weekend.
Yeah, we'll drag you kicking and screaming.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll get to go see it before it even comes out because we were able to get media screenings for the new Bloodshot movie if we still want to go this week, if that's a thing. So
and with a bonus exposure to coronavirus, we could end up with our eyes bloodshot in the experience.
There we go.
That's going to happen from having to watch Vin Diesel act.
That's true.
Or attempt to act.
Come on, he's not that bad. Crickets. Crickets.
Thank God he'll never hear this. So last little bit of news is more.
He's playing Dom with healing powers. I can't even talk.
Yes.
So aggravated.
Dom Vereen.
There you go.
So this is probably more for you guys because you guys are the number nuts.
Ooh,
there's an article that came out about a common topic here on the FANMEN podcast, Kevin. The per theater average record that Reboot hit.
one of only 3 movies to have 4 weekends or more, averaging $60,000 or more per screen.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's in rarefied air when you're starting to put Reboot in the conversation with Star Wars: A New Hope.
Is that interesting?
And then Blair Witch was the third, which doesn't... People forget exactly how big that first Blair Witch Project movie was.
I remember seeing it when it came. It was massive.
Massive.
That was back when you couldn't buy tickets online. So I remember going to see that in high school at the theater, and we got in. There's people down the block that couldn't get in to see the thing. They were adding shows.
That was one of your first true big viral marketing campaigns. I mean, that was word of mouth just taking off.
Yeah, that movie was terrifying.
What year?
98? 97, somewhere there?
Infancy of the interwebs?
I think it was 98.
I remember going to see that in, I think it was Kendall Square. There's kind of a high-end art house film there now, or art house cinema there. I can't remember what it's called, but I think that place had just opened, and that was a film in there that I'd heard about, and it was fun to see it when it was all buzz and not much press. Yeah, I did see. I saw that ad on Reboot, and also the Impractical Jokers movie. Actually, that's something since we last got together. I don't know if you saw it, DJ, but I know Chris saw it.
I did not. Not a big Impractical Jokers guy.
Yeah. If you were, the movie's a lot of fun. If you're not, it's probably not going to introduce many new fans, but I thought it was a pretty cool, if you're a fan of the guys, it was interesting to see.
It's certainly playing to the base. I think one thing I said as we were walking out, Sean, was it was a 90-minute episode of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Loosely held together. You had a thread going through it to be able to pull.
That's kind of what the Jackass movies were.
They turned it into a roadshow movie that was essentially just a longer version of the show itself. So it works very well if you're a fan of.
Yeah. And I apologize in advance to the Anthill. I'm not a big Impractical Jokers fan.
Yeah, don't anger the ants.
No, sorry. Okay, so since we brought up Reboot, segues into something special. So we actually were able to get Reboot star Keith Coogan on the Skype a little earlier.
Nice.
So we're gonna go ahead and insert that now, and when we come back from talking with Keith, we're gonna go ahead and jump into anything else we missed in top 3.
I'd like to, before we play that interview,
Yep.
which I missed,
Sorry.
I'd like to give a shout out to my loving and wonderful wife who put me in timeout and prevented my participation.
She
But
changed
let
John's
me-
Wi-Fi password.
no, but she let me out of
She unplugged
timeout
the car?
so I could.
She unplugged the car.
It's not electric only, yeah.
Boogie woogie
But but I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys talked about.
Okay, so on the
and,
phone we have
thanks
friend,
to Keith
Mr.
for
Keith Coogan
spending time with you two
of
bozos.
Jay and Silent Bob Reboot fame, and also
let's
Adventures
listen.
in Babysitting and Fox and the Hound and Toy Soldiers and all kinds of great movies. Keith, how's it going, boss?
Oh, this is the wrong interview entirely. I thought you guys were someone else. This is awful. I'm great, man. Yeah, it's a nice Saturday here in LA. A lot colder than I thought should be. And just chilling. Happy to talk to you guys. What's up? Rock and roll.
Excellent. It's 20 degrees here in Boston.
Yeah,
Wow.
you have no complaints about the cold.
Is that in metric or something? Wow.
Yeah, we wish we were out there. Well, Chris was just out there
That's one
about a
thing
month
they
ago.
say
Yeah, a few weeks
about
back.
LA is not the people aren't necessarily, it depends on who you meet, but sometimes the people are just awful. There's 16 million people in Southern California, but you just walk outside and you see the blue skies and 72 degrees, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why I live in LA.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
It
all
has
worth
to
it.
help.
It's all worth
Exactly.
it.
No question. Oh, he's sliding over
hello.
the video.
Just slide in, yeah, just slide.
DJ wants
I
on
can
camera.
see a clip of your face. That's
Yeah,
great.
just slide in my giant bald head.
There you go.
Well,
So-
good to talk to you guys. What have you been up to?
Not much, man. We just do normal adult stuff. Go to work and get beat up in an office every day.
I've been traveling around just to watch you on a big screen.
That's true.
I'm bouncing around following Kevin on tour for the last 4 months.
Yeah, I think
since
you might have
October.
this. I think Chris has like the second most screenings of Reboot under his belt.
Other than Jamie.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
How many have you gone to?
I think I got it to 15.
Ugh.
I've popped in and out of movies when they were in theaters here or there, opening night, that kind of thing, just to see how it's playing with different people. But that is a really good, sample size. N equals, 60 something or 15 or whatever. So how were the different crowd reactions? Did you see somewhere you're like, oh my God, they didn't laugh? Or it's one thing that they always laugh at and that kind of stuff?
It's fun to watch. Most of the time, the reactions have been consistent. I mean, certainly some of the groups have been louder than others. Certain areas of the country, the Klan scene especially, is played differently depending on which part of the country you're watching that in.
Oh, wow.
Most certainly. You couldn't hear it when you were in Florida, Tennessee, some of those places. Some of the Northeast, not so much. There's muted cheering.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was different.
But you get, I've seen it. I saw it 4 times at road shows and 5 times in the theater, and you get a lot of the same pops. So
Meth and Redman, does everyone just go crazy? Ben, everyone goes crazy.
Ben, everyone goes ballistic. Kevin's wife Jen gets a pretty big pop.
Yeah, just about every time.
Yeah, I mean every time someone pops on the screen, someone gets a pop. So you get
no,
one, Jericho gets one, Bader gets one.
Oh, exactly. Every time they see somebody they know, they go
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Nice.
Because it's almost like the whole point of the movie, like people basically just go cameo hunting. It's kind of like the fun, little game to play while you're watching it.
Yeah, certainly.
So since you brought up the cameo thing, so the story how you kind of got looped into the whole thing's pretty interesting because you're more than just a cameo. You as yourself is kind of like woven into the storyline of the movie a little bit.
I guess I think Kevin did that as I asked to be in the movie, and he's like you're in, and he figured out a way to kind of get in. And he's like, thought I'd be a guest at Chronicon, and that there'd be a series. Then they open a door, and you just hear me on stage talking to a crowd, going, "Dishes are done, man." That was going to be the gag. So when I showed up on set, and it was, the fishes thing, the Swedish fish with Dietrich and everything, I'm like, this is a great scene. I had so much fun shooting it. And we're at lunch, and I'd been wrapped before lunch, so like a vampire, you can't really eat lunch on a set unless you're invited. So video assist, he goes, "Why don't you come eat lunch with us?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So I sat, and we're all hanging around. Brian's at our table and stuff, and the video assist guy, I can't remember his name, and I feel pathetic for it. He goes, "Yeah, it was great, seeing you do the scene, especially considering how they set it up." And I'm like, "What do you mean how they set it up?" He's like, "Oh no, they quoted you, name checked you, and everything." I'm like, I couldn't believe that. It was nice to have those several beats, and then the end and the teasers and the credits. I love the credit sequence where everyone gets the slug under the footage. All of that was a way, I think, for Kevin to get all those bits he loved, but might have speed bump the story. The story is very streamlined, and he had to really focus to get us there, especially with Harley and Jay. And it works every time I see that movie. I'm like, God, they're so good in that and so emotional. But by putting that stuff that he was like, I just can't throw that out, sticking it in the credits, he helps his runtime. He keeps that down, and we get to see it all. It was great. That is, and then to cap it off with Stan, you almost forget when I watch it, and I'm watching all the cameos at the end and stuff, and the bloopers and outtakes, and then that Stan scene, and just. I don't know. Every audience I've seen it with, the Stan thing really just wrecks everybody. And
yes,
I don't know. It gives you a great feeling leaving it. The feeling of leaving that movie is just like, oh my God, you want to see it right away again. And I think that the seeing it with the crowd, seeing it in the theater, especially this kind of road show, concert, T-shirts, kind of, you know what I mean? Different way, and having the filmmakers speak at it. Totally unique way to release a movie. I know he did that with Red State, but this had that, it wasn't quite as genre movie as well. Kevin still is genre. I'll tell people, and I know he encounters this all the time. They're like, "We don't know who you are." I'll tell people, "Oh, I'm in Reboot," and they'll go, "What?" And I go, "Maybe they need the whole title, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot." And they go, "What? Huh?" Kevin Smith, Clerks, Chasing Amy. They go, "Nah, I don't know." And there's plenty of people that don't know who the hell I am. How can I curse on this?
Oh yeah, no, we do. We curse all the fucking time.
Trust me, there's people who don't know who the fuck I am, and so it's always funny. But then those that do, it's something that there's a reason why, people enjoy. Like I love zombie movies and horror movies and stuff, and give me any military movie, I'm all over it. My wife, not so much. She likes romantic comedies and Hallmark movies, and that's sweet. That's awesome. But neither of us are really in the same room as we're watching each. I'll be watching a Die Hard movie over here, and she'll be watching, some Hallmark movie.
Some
it's
goofy
really
Christmas
so
movie.
And they call it narrowcasting instead of broadcasting. Instead of, you're releasing Ghostbusters, which I think Jay and Silent Bob has an order of magnitude more laughs. And obviously that's a sci-fi horror action comedy, but and huge budget and all that other stuff. That had to be 4-quadrant and be released internationally all at once in a huge thing. Have a song and a video, Time magazine cover, all that stuff. And yet still that might have been niche. The Ghostbusters thing, didn't see it. I don't know. I'm not into it. But I tour people around Sony and show them the Sony lot. And I'll go, here's the Ghostbusters car. And most 50-year-olds will turn into 8-year-olds right in front of my eyes. Oh my God. And they go nuts and take selfies and everything. Can I get in it? No, you cannot get in the car. And then some that I think are right in that target age range. And already all the other references are working on. I go, oh, it's the Ecto 1. And they go, cool. Where's the Breaking Bad van? So it's different for everybody. But I love the Jay and Silent Bob community. I love the Reboot community.
It is fun. It is fun because especially for us, he's gone. Like I said, he's gone to a ton, but you get a lot of the same people that bounce around from show to show and everything. And we have our little kind of clique of Kevin fans anyway.
Well, one of the fun things too is I was going around to all of these different shows, is seeing other people that have been, cameo people in the movie, or you're seeing any of the background extras, and people are showing up in their costumes that they wore as an extra at the con.
Yeah.
To then go see the movie.
Aparna was at the first night that they showed it. Aparna was sitting right behind us. And it was the one theater that Kevin came and spoke at it. in Glendale. It was hysterical.
Okay,
or
so
Burbank.
one
So
of
funny.
the girl that I've been traveling around with to go see all these is Jamie White, who put together that showing. She was running the Legion M showing with her husband, Shannon. That was theirs at Burbank.
Oh yeah. That's right.
It was hysterical. I'm looking for my mom. She's getting popcorn. I'm like, I know it's about to start. And I'm like, they're waiting a long time. And I turn to Pinky and I go, is Kevin going to come here? Nah, that's impossible. So we're like, of all the theaters, it was playing all over LA. So I go out to the hall to wait for my mom, and I look, and there's Kevin walking right towards me. I'm like, I got my mom in, and I know, and he didn't know Aparna was there. And then at downtown, when we did the one downtown, the last one before the break or whatever, at the Ace Theater at the Ace, tons of people were there. Marilyn was everyone. It was so funny, and you can't know that when there's 1,600 people in the house.
I was watching for you there. I couldn't find you. I talked to Marilyn late night.
Yeah.
She was there after the show ended.
We bought our tickets way in advance, and we got the cheap seats. Literally the farthest you could get. The back of the balcony, so the concrete, the cement of the back of the balcony was right behind it. But it was center, and to sit there over the theater at the A's and watch this crowd. There were some people that were overserved.
That gentleman was,
down
sitting right behind me off to the right a little bit.
that
Clearly
must have been
overserved.
crazy. We were up in the back going, that guy, someone needs to put that guy down.
This dude kept screaming.
That was
Yes,
rough.
he told me
it
about
was
that.
awful.
I didn't have any of that at my. I was worried because we went up to my daughter was up in Maine in college, and I was like, "Hey, we're gonna go meet Kevin. I'm gonna take you to go meet Kevin." So she's like, "Okay, whatever." Unbeknownst to me, she watched all the movies, so she got caught up, and I was surprised because there's a couple of guys that looked pretty loaded up, but no interruptions or whatever. But even she liked it, and that's not really her wheelhouse at all, you know.
No,
But,
the one thing about it is, even the number of times that I've seen it, I haven't gotten bored once.
No.
I mean, I know where all the beats are going to come. You can recite the thing by heart at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the 2 hours and change still goes by incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
You're never once looking at your watch or any of that.
Yep.
It's like seeing friends on screen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun.
It's fun. And then,
Yeah, where's the moment in the movie where you go, oh God, it's kind of coming to an end. It's over. Meth and Redman scene, like right after that, or Ben scene.
when they pull up to the con. Because when they pull up to
Yeah, it's the coal miner's daughter shot.
yeah,
When she sees the Hollywood sign.
yeah, when they pull up to the con and everything, because then I know like all our cameos are starting to come, and then all that stuff, and then plus like right after when they get to the con, the shots I did were when they go up to the counter and she bounces Dan Fogel's head off the counter.
Yeah,
I'm right there, and then I'm in the hallway chase. But once they get there, I'm like, oh, okay, because that was like the day I was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
When I went down to New Orleans, I was gone right after that day. So that's kind of like, oh yeah, I don't know anything else that happens in the movie. I wasn't there for. So to me, that's like the end of it for me. Like, you know,
Yeah, and pretty much everything that was after that.
was you and
Once
Sean.
you get into the room, that's all the second to last day of filming.
Yeah.
That whole chunk of the movie took place in like an afternoon.
Yeah. That's with one where you guys were down there. So that's the only thing. It's like we went down different days because like the way it worked out was kind of sucked. But we didn't even know. Like I think I was down there when you were down there. Because I was in all those little like panel rooms and everything and all like the con stuff, and I didn't even know you were in the movie. So that's why when I actually saw the movie when the Fathom event happened, I was like, "Oh shit, hot damn!" And then luckily, you came up to Rhode Island for Comic-Con and everything,
That's right.
and so that it all worked out great. So
yeah, I was first up on one of the days of the con, and they had a late night the night before, and no one had any sleep, and no one's talking to each other. So I'm going through hair and makeup, and there's Kev and Jay, and get on set, and we're getting mic'd. We're standing 3 feet from each other. Nobody's really talking to each other. We understood they had a really late night. They've been working really hard. They're in the middle of this convention scene.
yeah,
They're like, every 5 minutes they're behind, just barely, and then they make it up, and then beyond. So it was just Jordan was just like constantly moving them forward. We got to move on. We got to keep doing this and banging out. And we got so much out of the several days of the week that was in that convention that they shot there. The entire third act was shot in that amount of time. It's ridiculous.
Well, just the one shot I was in with.
Ridiculous.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just the one shot I did with Dan Fogel. It was myself, Dan, Kevin, Jay, and the girls, and we were there till 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you text me
Yeah,
crazy.
it was
early
like
morning
5.5
when-
hours just to get that one shot down. So it was cool seeing that side of like the that side of the movie world. I watched a ton of them all the time. Never been in one, obviously. So that was kind of weird to see, like, oh, wow, it takes that long to get this 18-second clip done.
Yeah, I told you, it was almost more fun for me sitting behind the monitors, watching some of it being made, just kind of seeing how the sausage gets put together here, than it was actually being just sitting there in the room.
Yeah.
So, Keith,
shooting ratios are a trip, and how many angles directors decide for a scene. Directors that come out of TV are pretty like master, over the shoulder, you know. They like, oh, we're going to do 5 sets. They know when they're going in, they're going to cover it. As soon as the grips and electrics see them set up the master shot, they know what they're doing for the next 2 hours. It's a routine. Everybody knows. Then you have incredibly creative directors that want to shoot Birdman. And then there's the middle ground, which was a very 80s aesthetic. It had tracking shots. It had cranes. It was very judiciously used to move the story along. It had push. It didn't overuse like a Scorsese or, you know, Spielberg, who great and sensational directors. 80s movies would still have these kinds of shots in them. And I noticed Reboot did too. He would boom down with the camera. They were in they're little things, but overall, as you watch, it's not just setting up on sticks and shooting. So it was I thought it was very elaborate. There was a lot of moving parts, not only on the people, on the set dressing and the props and costumes and all that other stuff. It was ridiculous for the third act. And shooting a road picture has its own challenge, but I guess they made it look like a road picture still based out of New Orleans.
It was all in New Orleans. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Unless you spent a bunch of time down there, you really can't pick up on.
You have no clue.
Yeah.
Well, I did know this. The movie kind of goes, all right, we're driving. We're like 10 miles away from New Orleans. I feel like we're 20 miles away. All right, we're in LA. It's just
yeah, we get to Arizona very quickly.
There's a lot of ground covered, man. There's a lot of ground covered. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. And honestly, I love that feeling at the end where I just want it to keep going on. And Jay and Harley are having coffee, and it's like, oh, the movie's so over right now. But then all of the credits, and then the bloopers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
According to Kevin, there's hours and hours that are sitting on the cutting room floor that he just couldn't find a spot for.
Yeah, so I told him I want a snack pack
tons of
cut.
content.
I want a snack pack cut with everything in it.
The 4-hour version of Reboot?
Yeah, with all the extended credits and everything. And because we have to sit through the credits every time because a buddy of ours, Stephen Griss, he wrote the Shuck You Don't Like It song that they play during the credits. So we would, so, you know, for him, I always sit through the song and everything.
I'm there until the end.
Yeah. So, but it was a fun trip. I'm not going to lie. It was something I never thought I'd get to do ever in my life.
No, I never anticipated getting the invite to go down and do any of this or be able to experience that side of the movie making process. Now, Keith, I know you had talked to Kevin and asked him that you told him you wanted to be in the movie. How was it? Were you friends beforehand? How did that connection take place?
I had gone to a screening of The Shark Is Still Working at Smod Castle. Had never met Kevin. Was in the lobby, and he had a crowd around him 3 deep. He was like talking to people, and I saw him from about 25 feet across the room, and I just caught his eye for a second, and I got this. He was like talking to people, and he goes, "Hey," little head nod. I was like, "Oh, what?" I got a head nod. I was so excited about the head nod. So, cut to years later, and I'm with my wife Pinky, and she's going to go down and get George Segal because the Star Walk of Fame, and Kevin's going to speak there. So she's there, and she goes, "Oh, my husband was really excited. He got a head nod from you years ago," and Keith Coogan, wherever he was in that, and Kevin goes, "I know exactly who Keith Coogan is." She goes, maybe you should ask him to be in the movie at that point. And so of course you got to like stay on it. It was very amorphous. Like they're just putting together dates. They're doing pre-production. This is for something that's not in the script, so you're not really in the movie. And now I don't believe you're in the movie until you're standing on your mark. Actually, till your second paycheck clears, but that's a whole other story. When you're on a set and you're doing, that's when you're on it. Everything else is like, you got to lock it up. So it was just a while of trying to, and I didn't have any way to get in touch with Kevin. I was like, well, what do I do? Talk to my agent. How do I do it? And she goes, just get their production office, the agent's information, and she'll make it work. I'm like, great. So she's on board. We're on board. I'm like, I don't know production. How do you find it? It's kind of secret or whatever. You don't want people crashing the production office. they might get stabbed by the hobos that lived in the hallways. No, it was apparently the production office was in a rougher part of town, and they didn't tell us that until after we'd visited it and like dropped off donuts and thanked everybody and everything. And later they're like, I was watching Kevin talk about it, going, "Yeah, our production office was in kind of a shady part of town." I'm like, "You didn't tell us that." So finally, I'm on the Sony lot, and I'm walking around, and it's like I'm after lunch, and I'm walking up, having a smoke, and I look up, and I see ankles and calves and jorts sticking out of one of the stages. And I know that Kevin directs Goldberg's, so I'm like, and he stepped in again real quick. So I'm like, that couldn't have possibly get. He steps back again. I see it's 100% Kevin. This is post-heart attack. He's thinned down, looking great. And, go up, say hi, give him a big hug. And I explained to him, I don't know how to get with the thing in the agent in your production office. He just goes, "Give me your phone." He takes the phone, puts his number in there, and we made it work.
There you go.
That's amazing.
That sounds
things
so
got
Kevin.
pushed and this. And then I happened to be doing a convention, an autograph convention in Pensacola, 200 miles from New Orleans, the day before shooting started. So it all worked out.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome. It's a cool story.
And then, apparently he edits really quick. So I'm at lunch with the video assist guy. I want to say his name's Chris, but I could be wrong. And he goes, I go, what do you give Kevin? Do you give him like slate to slate? Do you, to cut? Do you give him just prints? And he goes, I give him everything that was shot. Everything. And he doesn't sleep, and he stays up at night after shooting, cutting it together, and then walks back on the set in the morning, and he does that for 21 days straight. And I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. I'm like, he had to have had some sleep. But, you take a lifetime to put together a project, and then it comes together, and then quickly, and the money, and the date, and then you're on set doing it. And if that's the way he works, I was kind of blown away. I know editors or directors that kind of cut their own stuff, but writer, director, editor, talent as well in it. The best thing on set was to see him do a scene as Silent Bob. Come behind, wardrobe would come and help him take off his wardrobe jacket and put on a very identical jacket. They take off his hat that had the fake wig underneath, take off his hat and put on an identical
The normal hat.
Yeah, the white hat.
Yeah, the normal hat. And he does his purple jacket, his hat, and they'd put headphones on him and he'd watch the take. And then you go, "Oh, I like that one. That's good. All right, I know what it." Because as he's watching a take, he's getting an idea. And he doesn't just stop at the script. That was amazing to watch him work. That's the beginning. That's a skeleton. As soon as you get actors out there and look at the cameos, look at the courtroom scene. Ridiculous. None of that was on the page. So they start doing their thing. He starts encouraging them. He sees something you like, he spins that a little harder. I like that. Lean that way. Talk about that more. He'll give him a line. And then all of a sudden he'll remember something, a callback in the movie, and go, "Ooh, let's mirror or parallel another line." And it was just amazing because he had me go at one point in the last take, he goes, "Just before you say the fishes or whatever," goes, "Wait for it." And I didn't know that Matt Damon had to wait for it. So it was a callback to something, but it wasn't because he hadn't shot Matt's yet. So he came up with the wait for it at the moment and then had Matt do it as a callback. But Matt goes, and he knows these things like a puzzle piece. He knows his movies. He goes, "I know exactly what minute in the movie this is going to be at, where the audience is, where they're going to squirm, when they're going to go to the bathroom," because he's watched a billion movies and made a billion movies. So it's really neat to see someone, it was independently done. So there's no big studio sitting over there or, completion bond company sitting there with a whip on the set. And to see someone grab so many hats and wear them so well and so quickly and do it so great. And then he's gracious on set. Usually when you're wrapped on a set, they go, "And that's a picture wrap," on Keith Coogan or whatever. And, the crew gives a little applause. Then you go sign out, change, and you're off the set. He goes, "Hey, I just want to say," tells a story, does a thing, acknowledges something, and then, and it's a wrap or whatever. And I'm like, I've never seen. Oh, and before every take, he'll say something different to every actor to make them crack up, laugh, get juiced up. "You're a superstar." Or he'll say something. I'll go, "I've never seen that before." So he did a lot of things that were I'd never seen them done traditionally on sets, and God damn it, they need to be done on every set.
Yeah, he would come in and hype up like the holding room with a lot of like the background people, and the casting lady from down in New Orleans. She's like, I've never seen that before at all. And even like when we were filming, he's in between takes. Same thing. He takes off switches hats or whatever, physically and literally. And he calls me over and we're talking. He's like, "How's that working for you?" I'm like, "Why? It doesn't fucking matter what I think, dude. It's like, you invited me down here to do this. Like, I'm like, bowing to your feet at this point in time. It's like, you can do whatever the hell you want. I don't care." It's like, but yeah, he's always like that anyway. Like, we've met him a bunch of, like, Chris more than me, obviously. But he's always very much, how are you? How are things going?
Yeah, it's always questions about the family or any of that.
He'll ask how the wife and kid are doing and stuff. And
the one thing that kind of stuck with me as we were doing the filming is before every single take, kids, let's remember we get to make believe for a living.
Yeah.
We live in fantasy land here. Have some fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah, have some fun.
Do it just a little reminder as to, hey, don't take this shit too seriously.
Yeah, he wasn't like screaming for a latte or like, "Where's my damn water?"
No. We get to play with our friends here. Let's just go have a good time and do it.
Yeah. Which is, yeah.
But then sometimes the secret gets out of the tribe and you have millions of people in the general public buying Blu-rays in Walmart, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I have talked to people that didn't see the road show, didn't see it when it was, the first night, that those 2-night release, didn't have never seen Kevin speak, and they're like, "Oh, I bought the Blu-ray." That's awesome. That's awesome. So I always hope there's another level, because yes, it's a great nod to Strike Back and to fans of the whole universe. But I introduced my boss, and this is not her a type of movie she'd go see. And she was very excited to hear about how Tuesday night went when it hit that one night release. And she goes, oh, it's playing again Thursday. I'm like, yeah, it's a double feature with Strike Back. And so she went, and having never seen Jay and Silent Bob anything.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sat through Strike Back and Reboot just to watch my cameo. It was very sweet.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
And, there's parts of Strike Back where she goes, "I'm lost. I don't know what these references are." But it was nice to see Reboot calling back to Strike Back, and seeing them back to back for her, because I didn't watch Strike Back since like even working on Reboot. That I should go do that.
I watch them all the time, so.
And it is. I mean,
it's so, the amount of Easter eggs, layers, repeats, rewrites of lines, the amount of them and how fast they come. It really never stops. And then you still have a road picture, and then you still have the daughter, finding the daughter picture, and then all of them just go rat tat 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 tat.
Layer after layer.
Yep. An onion.
It was
ogres are like onions, donkey.
No, it was clearly a movie made for Kevin Smith fans, rebooting what was essentially a 2-hour inside joke, based off of the whole beginning of his career. So it's fascinating. I know your daughter's watched it.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible parent, so I've let my 11-year-old watch it, but she's been around Kev enough that she doesn't think anything of it.
Exactly.
I'm curious, DJ, what was Athena's take on the movie? We didn't really talk about that after you saw it.
So
I've been on the road.
She actually liked it. So I made her. She watched Clerks for like a project in school. They're doing like she had this list of like 100 of like AFI movies. Or like you're watching Clerks.
Some old black and white movie like Diary of Anne Frank or Clerks.
You get to pick one.
You can watch her like Clerks or Ben-Hur. Now you're watching
Schindler's
Clerks.
List, maybe.
Yeah. But no, she actually liked it a lot. She got into it, and she likes all the cameo stuff too. 'Cause she knows she loved all the Ben Affleck Batman jokes. She liked that. She liked the the Loki joke with I was Loki for it was cool in the 90s. It's like that kind of stuff. But it's cool. And it was nice too for me to be able to show you because she's talked to her Pinky a couple of times via email, just about some stuff. So that was nice. Which, by the way, your wife is the shit, man. She really is. She's awesome.
She's the sweetest.
She's awesome.
Oh, acknowledge. Hear that, baby? Shit. I think she's napping. I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, no, she liked it. She did.
Still the shit, even when you're napping. That's awesome. Yeah, Pinky went with me and was there on the set and experienced that whole day of the con stuff that they were doing, and very, very fun. It was the first kind of because that movie, as independent as you call it, it was rolling thunder. All the trucks and the things and art department and everything that you could possibly want. The scope was huge. And and the movie looks great too. It's just shot great, looks great. So it was nice to be able to, she'd been on the set for some low budget independent stuff and web series stuff and all that other stuff. But it was nice to bring her on and show her, a Video Village kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Kevin sat her down in a chair, and she was sitting there watching along, with them while I was shooting, and was able to kind of rat out or say she was watching Kevin giggle watching the playback or whatever. And I was shooting a close up with Diedrich or whatever. Yeah. And so Kevin and Jay are silent off on the side. So he's just behind Video Village watching us shoot our bit. And she said he was just cracking himself up. I don't know if he shot it as the biggest inside joke for this group. I think he shot it for him. It is a movie that he enjoys. And thus, by extension, everybody else would enjoy. He's like a curator for absolutely obscure and arcane references, and that stoner culture, and to that he, self-admittedly wasn't, and then was. That just cracks me up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that he wrote about it for years and had no basis for what he was writing.
Thanks, Seth Rogen. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, so
yeah, that was really cool. So we finished the movie, and very soon after, Pinky, who was, this is her, she still told me, ask him for the thing to be in it. It's all her idea because she has absolutely no fear. And she's like, why not? I'm like, oh no, I can't talk to him. So after the thing, she goes, why don't you just text him and say, thanks for the opportunity and being in it and had a great time and all that stuff. So I did. And he answers back, you want to see it? And I'm like, we just finished filming like a week ago. And he's like, come over and watch it. And we go over to his house, and he hooked up his laptop that he's editing it on to the TV. Actually, he didn't. He said Jay had to come over and hook it up. He doesn't know how to do that shit. He goes, I know it's very off-brand for both of us. And we watched a temporary rough cut. And remember, the movie had more effects shots than the original Star Wars. So I saw it with none of those.
Wow.
The movie had more VFX shots than Episode 4, A New Hope.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
That's what the majority of the post
shot is an effect. He added so many fucking lens flares in the convention.
Oh yeah,
every single one of
the
them
Abrams shot
is an effect. And it's funny, when I was watching the movie, the lens flares were done so well that it felt like I was in a J.J. Abrams movie, but also I thought they were done practically. That really cracks me up. He had a really good cinematographer, and they took their time. Everyone had, I'd say, at least from the one I did, and I know they're trying to bang mine out quick so they could get to the rest of the convention stuff. He'd come in, kind of block it, figure it out, and literally everyone had 10 minutes. That's it. From set decoration, costumes, makeup, hair, the camera, lighting, all that stuff, sound, 10 minutes. If we didn't do it in 10 minutes, we didn't need it. And at 10 minutes, they were rolling. And I'm like, and sometimes quicker. And that to me he's like, here's what I want to do. And if he goes, I want some art back there or there, dude, that was probably so great for him, because I'm sure on Clerks he had to crawl out from behind the sticks, go up, move the art, crawl back up behind the camera. Here, he had guys just immediately run out and boom, 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 art's up. And I was like, I didn't know what the budget was when we were shooting it. And there's always a couple of different budgets. Like the actual costs, some other overhead, this, that, post, releasing, all that other stuff. So I knew that he did have some resources,
Yeah,
certainly.
When I've shot movies with $300,000, the whole budget for a movie was $300,000, and it looks okay. It was shot on 16 and then blown up to 35, and they look okay. They look like little art films. But he had a nice setup and great crew. I've never seen a crew all incredibly just motivated and cracking, and I'm sure they were exhausted by the time I got on the movie. Anyway, go on.
I think the number he said was somewhere between 11 and 12 million was the final budget for the picture.
Right, after all was said and done. I think they shot it for 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
After tax credits and all of that good stuff.
Right.
Nice.
like Adventures of Babysitting. When I was growing up, I was under the impression it was a $12 million or $10 million budget. Then the production manager on Facebook posted a below the line, above the line for all their work in Toronto that they pulled off for $4 million. We shot most of the movie in Toronto, 2 months. We did 2 weeks in Chicago. Add a couple another. They shot Adventures of Babysitting for the same budget as Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, about $8 million. I mean, yeah, all the posts and all that other stuff's different, but that just blows me away. And then the release was something I'd never seen before either. Put the damn film in your trunk, take it around the country. Helps with the per screen average that you're charging $40 a pop instead of 15 for seats.
Take that, Avengers.
Yeah, did you see that article that just dropped?
Genius, huh?
Did you see the article that just dropped? So you're in the movie about the per screen average. There's only been 3 movies all time that have had more than 4 or more weekends of 60,000 or more per screen. Yep. And it's Star Wars: A New Hope, Blair Witch Project, and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So you're in rarefied air, sir.
Wow. Yeah. I noticed they stopped counting for a while on the numbers and Box Office Mojo. I'm like, you're not adding. Every week it's making another couple $100,000. And like, it's making it's doing good money. And they weren't adding to the totals. And I guess they considered the original run closed. Very weird.
He's kind of cracked the code as to how to finance a movie.
Yeah. You got to wonder if he's going to do that with if you ever get for Corkston or something.
For him, I know that Legion M, and I wish him a lot of luck, but they don't have a high-profile name or star attached to other products, or it's, and the other products aren't very genre-specific and well-targeted to that genre, like audience, like Blumhouse does with Facebook ads. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Blumhouse doesn't spend millions and millions of dollars in ads. They buy Facebook ads for people that went to a theater and saw a horror movie in the last year or whatever. If they bought a DVD, streamed, or whatever, a horror movie, they're like, that's who I want to target to. So they'll spend $400,000 on ads instead of $20 million and make all their money back on one weekend. Their budgets are $2 to $3 million for their, a lot of their movies, and they rinse and repeat. So for Legion M, they better keep these budgets really low or have the equal type of star talent as Kevin Smith to be able to do that and carry a picture on the road like that for that model. I think it only works for him on that movie that time because he's going to tweak it and he's learned something about it. So I'm very interested to see the other releases of Legion M. Totally.
There's one movie they did. They didn't do it like Roach style, but they did like a weird kind of apocalyptic horror-ish kind of movie called Mandy with Nicolas Cage. That movie's batshit crazy. Good movie,
yeah, it's out there.
Yeah. But it didn't do successful like
both
Reboot did.
And Reboot were not part of the new investment push when Reboot was coming out. It was for like a round 3 of investment, and those investors are not going to get any back end on Mandy or anything that had been produced prior. The single most successful film investment group in history was?
Who's that?
Silver Screen Partners 3. And they were behind all the Touchstone movies in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, really?
Kidding.
Their model was a $10 million budget. One big star like a Richard Dreyfuss or a Bette Midler or a Lily Tomlin or something like that. We make $30 million at the box office. Maybe every once in a while we get a stakeout and it makes $100 million. Rinse and repeat. Make 5 a year. Boom. Jeffrey Katzenberg sat over it and they just turned out. And you know who was who chaired the board of Silver Screen Partners 3? George Bush Jr. So he may not have been able to run an oil company in Texas, but damn if he didn't. It was a 600% return on your investment.
Jesus.
That's amazing.
You give him $1 million, you would get $6 million back out of this fund. No one's ever seen anything like that because look at every Touchstone movie you think of. It's like starting with like Splash and on.
I love Splash.
Is moderately like, yeah, I do remember that. And I do remember the ads and I probably saw it. Then they tried Hollywood Pictures for their R-rated Blue Steel, and In the Army Now was Hollywood Pictures. So yeah, it's interesting. Like over at Sony, they have Columbia Pictures, they have TriStar, they have Stage 6, they have Black Label Media, and it depends on if it's foreign, domestic, if it's subtitled, if it's genre, if it's a big star or not, budget level, then they decide which company they're going to make lose money, and they shove it on their books.
That's
You think
crazy.
that riding in the car with rain or whatever, that movie made any money? No, it didn't make any money.
Well,
But somehow, and I don't know, Netflix is full of debt, billions of dollars of debt. And
years and years away from ever potentially seeing a
we
profit.
talk about it all the time. We talk about how Chris's his favorite thing is on paper, Return of the Jedi never made a penny.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I know.
always it always throws me when you're seeing any of these articles come out as to what movie's a huge success or a huge failure. And the one argument, I mean, DJ saw the original box office. I mean, we go back and forth on some of the superhero movies and things like that. The Birds of Prey box office, it only made $34 million in the first weekend. It's a massive disappointment. But they made it for 84.5.
Yeah.
But then, a month before, you had Ford versus Ferrari, roars to a $31 million opening.
And people
Huge
blew
success. And it cost way more than Birds of Prey to make. It's all in the perception.
Well, also, we'll think of something like Weird Science, what it made like 100 and something million. And always when we think of these numbers, and I forget this all the time, the studio only gets half of that number because the theaters take half. So when you look very closely, most movies do not make their money back on. They don't even cover their P&A spend. Usually on the theatrical release, unless a movie plays for 6 months, which we don't do that anymore. Even Endgame was out of theaters in 3 weeks. I went, what the hell is? I've never seen an industry. I was so shocked when Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, made $100 million in one weekend. It was the first movie to do that. And I'm shocked. I was like, they're going to expect that now from every single blockbuster. And didn't that happen with the whole Marvel Star Wars thing? But I think that and I like the idea of sliding ticket prices, not just for time of day, but for level of budget, there could be, maybe multiplexes could save a room for Legion M, or save a room for another independent production company, an independent studio, and go ahead. We have a thing in LA, Arena Cinema Lounge, and it is independent movies, and they do red carpets and try to get press. These things go to Sundance and stuff like that, and amazing little theater, and it counts as a theatrical run if you're trying to go for an Oscar or something like that.
Oh, cool.
So you book it out for a week, but it's a nice theater, and you can eat and drink in it and all that other good stuff. It's like a nice atmosphere, and the lounge kind of a thing. And that, and this brought back that Reboot, brought back that fun watching Up in Smoke in theaters, or watching Poltergeist. I've never in Poltergeist, the crowd laughed and screamed. Raiders of the Lost Ark, they laughed, they screamed. And I remember those kind of belly laughs of sitting in a theater with 1,000 people and everyone laughing at, it's not the ears, it's the mileage. And then those 80s kind of what we think of as like fast paced Caddyshack type movies, maybe Airplane even. You watch Airplane, I mean, Kevin Smith outgags Airplane even. Like in terms of, they said we need a laugh a page. Kevin does like 2 laughs per half a page. And then in between, he's just trying to figure out how to set up and get to the next laugh. Yeah. I'm very interested to see the future thing, and not just Legion M. I want to see the future of all of that kind of stuff, because there's a big gap between being truly independent and no budget and non-union and no SAG actors. Like, because you could go, if you got a camera phone or decent enough little DLSR, you could go shoot a movie. But to get it released, everything, like Kevin said, it cost another $20 million, and to get it released. So if you want to start working with SAG talent, and stuff looks better and this and that, the bar, you have to then all of a sudden spend this to just deal with the insurances and the liability and the standards and practices, and like have attorneys look over it, all that stuff. There's a whole nother level, and that is the gap that needs to be closed. When we can kind of close that gap, then we'll truly get a democratization, of like filmmaking in Hollywood.
So
Oh, I have an active cameo request. Yes.
Nice.
Love
Excellent.
cameo.
Cameo's cool.
I make short little 2-minute short films and people pay me. That's great.
I did one of those for.
Because I know people that spend $15,000 on a short film and they didn't make a damn dime off of it.
There you go. Yeah, I did a cameo for when my brother was sick in the hospital before he passed away. We were big Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fans. So I did one with Jason David Frank from Power Rangers, and he didn't even know what the hell a cameo thing was, so he was blown away. But it's a cool service.
It is a really cool service.
So if anyone
Andy
out there
Dick is too expensive, but it's a cool service.
yeah. So if anyone wants to do a cameo shout out with Keith, you can find him on Cameo. What else do we have? What else do we have coming up? Anything else coming up? Cons or anything?
Yeah, we got a lot of autograph conventions booked, like 5 this year, but coronavirus has already canceled one or postponed Miami. There's Retro PopCon in Miami. They're pushing back the dates. So we still have Denver, Oklahoma City, New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival, and the Hollywood Show out in LA.
Okay.
Huh? Yeah, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma.
The government are saying it's a health crisis. I could see having an autograph convention isn't exactly the smartest move.
Yeah, we got one up here, Ace Comic Con, Boston, and they have like Helmsworth and Evans and Hiddleston and Ewan McGregor, and they're like, you can come, you just can't shake hands or stand within 2 feet of them. It's like,
don't hand them anything.
Don't hand them anything, even though you paid $700 to get their autograph or whatever. It's like, interesting time we live in. But the New Jersey one, that's like a little mini Don't Tell Mom reunion, right?
We are. We got Danielle Harris, who was Melissa. You know, I helped her with her fastball. And we got Joanna Cassidy as nice boss lady, as Rose Lindsay, who, you know, I'm right on top of that Rose. Who she, you know, and I was reading an article or an interview with Joanna Cassidy, and they asked her what she gets recognized from and if she gets recognized from. And she says, yes, Blade Runner and, you know, Under Fire or this or that. She go, Roger Rabbit, but she'll go, 5 times a day is I'm right on top of that Rose. And she goes, she gets recognized from Don't Tell Mom more than any movie. She's kind of leaned into it. I love it. She, you know, her laugh, by the way, in Don't Tell Mom, the babysitter's dead. That's Joanna Cassidy's real laugh.
Oh, is it?
And I really love it when actors bring, like, you go, is that a character? Is that an affectation? Is that a thing? And like, no, that's something that most people would try to hide and not put on film, and she used it for her character. She's so great. I love Joanna. So the 3 of us, so 2 of the Crandall kids and Sue Ellen's boss, Joanna Cassidy and Danielle Harris and Keith Coogan will be. Now, I sneaked into the horror convention because of Danielle, but also because I did a Tales from the Crypt, so that counts.
Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
And Python.
Oh, yes, Python, yes. Python.
Billy Zabka and Will Wheaton. Yeah,
there you go.
That was fantastic.
Excellent.
I need to do more horror conventions because horror people, just like Viewisk Universe people, are very fetishistic. They buy every single toy, every single doll, every single pop vinyl, every DVD, Blu-ray, every version. They stream it, they buy it, they recommend it, they share it. Horror fans have a lot in common with the reboot crowd.
It is a very similar kind of dynamic.
And there's an overlap.
Oh, definitely.
Certainly.
Big time.
Oh, yeah.
Most certainly.
No, yeah. I've never stayed up at night and watched like 28 Days Later. Hi. No, never. Of course you have. Of course you have.
That'd be fucking terrifying. I wouldn't even attempt to do that.
Yeah, you don't watch horror movies in the dark.
Definitely can't do zombies. DJ don't do zombies. I can't watch Walking Dead in the middle of the day with the lights on and a loaded AR next to me. Just too much. Just too much. Awesome. Well, Keith, sir, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
We appreciate you taking the time, man. This was awesome.
It was great talking to you guys.
Yeah, and
congratulations on the movie and being in it. That's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
IMDb credit. It was nice.
Yeah, we've got an IMDb credit.
Yeah.
So funny. I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and Jordan was like, nobody can take pictures on the set. You can't, talk about anything, casting or costumes or anything. I'm like looking at the call sheet. I'm like, Val Kilmer and Ben Affleck are like flying in the day I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But I can't tell anybody this. And it just killed me. Then all of a sudden, oh, it wasn't Ben? Oh, sorry. Who was it? Oh, it was Val and Tommy Chong. My wife will correct me when I get little details of stories wrong. She makes sure that I pull that memory file right. Thank you, babe. Oh, right. That hadn't happened yet. Sorry, the Ben thing hadn't gone down yet. That was amazing when that happened.
That was. Well, the thing with NDAs for Kev movie is you can't NDA it because he's going to disclose everything on his own.
Yeah, you have to sign, and he's just going to put it on Twitter.
We went to go see a what's the Kevin Smith? What's with Ralph Garman?
Babylon.
Babylon. We go to Babylon, and he spills the beans right to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
But I still didn't want to, say too much or whatever. So I'm watching on IMDb as this thing is just filling up with like Bart Simpson, Silent Bob, freaking Spawn, Silent Bob. Like all of a sudden, I'm seeing all of the background artists, but I'm also seeing anytime that Kevin started mentioning somebody's in the movie, it would show up on IMDb the next day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. So I wait after we do the podcast, and then I wait, no one puts it on IMDb. And then Kevin was doing an interview, and they were talking about the cameos and he announced like 38 cameos already. And he goes, "Oh no, I've got like 56 cameos, and I want to save some for when the movie comes out." So I'm like, maybe, I don't know. But so it needs to be part of that, and I'm surprised because I'm not established in the View Askew universe. Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead may be a movie that those characters had watched or even just known about just because of the commercials and stuff like that. I'm sure Brody had a crush on Christina Applegate like any red-blooded American, right?
No doubt.
So it was just weird that, like, to pull in that which exists in the real world, and there's plenty of things in Clerks. Star Wars exists in the real world, and they talk about Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So here I am pulled into this universe in this weird way. It was amazing. Total dream come true. Loved it. It was shortest day on the set. It was a normal time, but I wanted to just, I wanted to work on it for a while and work with Kevin and really soak it in. It went like that. It went lightning fast when I was on set.
It was one of the coolest things I ever did in my life, at least.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah, and it came
at a bucket list.
It was good. I mean, for me, it came at a bad time too. So it was kind of like a little highlight and like a sea of shit that hit me. So it was nice to. It was a good trip. Definitely a good trip. So, well, thank you again, sir. And next time we can get out to Cali, definitely have to hit you and the wife up. Go do dinner or something, maybe. Swing by the Sony. Yeah, definitely swing by the Sony lot. Check out that Ecto 1. I didn't know you had that. I will cry if I see that.
DJ's going to stalk you now.
No.
Yeah, we got Ivan Reitman's office on the lot, and he'll usually park it out in front of his office.
Oh, you're kidding me!
It's not a reproduction. This is the actual Ecto. It's pretty cool.
I
got
love
a couple other
Ghostbusters.
Nuts.
I'm a big.
That's like
Ghostbusters
your religion.
Guy.
Yeah,
I know. I'm a big Ghostbusters guy. So
they got a prop and costume museum, which have got a trap from 2 and Answer the Call, the oil painting from the end of 2, which is the scariest painting I've ever seen.
Oh, with the baby. Yeah.
It's got the Vigo painting. You got to see the Vigo painting. And some proton packs. It's got the flashy thing from Men in Black and the Seinfeld set.
The neuralizer.
Yeah. Someone put a sleeping pod from Passengers in the center of the room, and oddly nobody walks up and goes, "Oh my god, it's one of the pods from Passengers."
Next to a friggin' proton pack. It's like, yeah, no exactly. Shit.
But they do lose their shit over the Seinfeld set and costumes and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, you can come out to Sony. I'll show you around.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make that trip. That. Yeah, and I'm always down to hit a mouse day too. So there's ways to work things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
mouse all the time.
Have to make that.
I got to ride of Resistance.
Oh, it's so good.
It's amazing.
It's so good, isn't it?
It's the greatest ride ever made. You don't even need to be a Star Wars fan because there's like evil man in black clothes with the red thingy, and then no good people. You don't even need to know the story of Star Wars to enjoy the ride.
No,
it's literally.
It's a marvel. It's a marvel
to experience the scope of that ride. Yeah. I wasn't prepared for just the scale.
And
no.
Smuggler's Run worked the first 2 times I rode it. I felt like I was in a damn tin can shot through a canyon of lasers firing at me. After a while, I was like, okay, yeah, it's. I love Smuggler's Run, but I always single ride, so I'm always an engineer. But man, Rise of the Resistance is crazy good.
It's being picked up and dropped into a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. We're actually. I hear the Spider-Man is coming out.
So you guys are getting Marvel out there.
Yeah, we're getting
They're
Marvel.
working on the
that's right.
Marvel land.
Oh, maybe we
I
can.
forget what lands and where.
Maybe we can make it a day. We'll go hit some Marvel stuff. Take Keith and Pinky out to dinner. Could be fun. Could be a fun
I'm
day.
always down for a Disney day.
Awesome.
Well, this is not a flattering angle of me as I try to.
That's okay. No problem. They can't see you
All right.
anyway.
Well,
We're all
listen,
audio.
good talking to you guys, man. Have a good one, and yeah, come on out to LA. We'll make it happen.
Definitely.
Thank you,
Sounds
sir.
good.
Appreciate
Thank
you taking the time.
Rock and roll.
Take it easy,
Thanks, Keith, man. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
So, anything else you guys want to get into before we get into top three?
Well, I'm sure there's stuff to talk about. I'm used to actually seeing your faces and being inspired to call up bullshit from my mind. But no, let's go ahead and hit top three, and I'm sure we'll have some stuff.
It's hard to come up with topics that are not Corona related right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be the predominant topic with festivals being canceled and all of that going on. Heard Keith just allude to, he's already had a cancellation on his schedule.
Yeah, or like a pushback. It's not
a
canceled.
pushback. It's things are being moved to the summer. Emerald City Con, same thing. They're trying to find summer dates to move all that
huge.
to. When you have people like Jim Lee and Scotty Young and all these big creative saying, no, can't take the chance. We got kids at home.
Yeah, it's interesting too because with Emerald City pushing off, and we don't we have in theory we have Ace Comic Con Boston in a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, and when you have, obviously no one knows what's going to happen with San Diego coming up, but like a show like say Fan Expo Boston, that's only really announced 2 guests. If they had anyone in common with any other conventions, it might fuck them so bad.
The scheduling for the
It's
later
gonna be
parts of the year.
Yeah. Summer cons this summer is going to be a shit show.
This next week is going to be interesting, having the South by Southwest news drop on a Friday afternoon the way it did.
Yeah.
You didn't have, other people didn't have a chance to react to that. Once you get into that Monday news cycle,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what the trickle down effect from that, because that's, DJ and I were talking a little bit off the air before, Sean. They're estimating $400 million impact by having that festival canceled.
We go into they just so I don't know if I can talk about this or not, but whatever, fuck it. Actually, no, it's public knowledge.
He's breaking news.
So I work in healthcare IT, and someone had the brilliant idea, which is actually a good one, that maybe if you're going to hold HIMSS this week in Orlando, it's probably not best to put some of the best healthcare IT professionals in the country during a possible pandemic. So they canceled HIMSS for the first time ever. So if you're going to Disney World this week,
what is HIMSS?
Health information something management systems conference.
Health information and medical management systems.
Something like that.
That's why we have you. You're so smart.
Shut so smart.
I can backronym things all day.
There we go. Back to acronym.
I like that backronym.
Yes, exactly.
Backronym. So if you're going down to Disney this week, it's a good week because there's about 100,000 less people going to be in Central Florida.
Yeah, you're gonna have the place to yourself.
There you go.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go on Rise
lick
Resistance.
everything.
There you go. You can lick every park bench you want.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you said kind of what my biggest fear is, right? I mean, it's not so much the individual health, though obviously, some people are at risk and, can die just like they do from the flu and other things.
Yep.
But the economic impact of the unknowns and kind of the fear spinning up and everything, that's very real and can have a pretty significant effect on, the coming months and potentially years. And that's got me a little concerned. I'll be happier once I see, the climbing infection numbers outside of China, kind of plateau off and start to drop.
Yeah.
Then I'll be relieved and start investing more.
We got to get through the testing phase in the States first to see exactly where that's going to shake out. I mean, you have no idea just because they haven't been testing nearly enough.
And they're like, people are freaking out. I think there's not that we're not experts in CDC stuff or anything like that, but on the news there was 11 deaths and people were freaking out. But it's like, from what I understand, almost all of them, unfortunately, seem to have gotten into a nursing home in Washington State and just ran through a nursing home.
Yeah, so you're starting to see a handful in other states.
89-year-olds are a little weaker in the respiratory system than some of us.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the biggest risk, where so many carriers are out there that you don't know about, and the vast majority of us would get a cold.
Oh, yeah.
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 It's when we come in contact with parents and grandparents and
Exactly.
they just can't quantify that just yet. So.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for the three of us, you guys, I'm the one that has to worry probably more than you two. I got the bad asthma problem, but
Yeah, but we travel more. But
That's
Yeah, it probably
I know-
balances out.
that's true.
I'd feel safer if I were able to travel around in a high-tech Batmobile.
Ooh. Hashtag segue.
Hashtag segue.
With the release of the Pattinson Mobile, let's go your top 3 favorite Batmobiles. Can be from any of the Batman branches,
Okay.
we'll say.
Yeah, so obviously there's a very rich, available palette of Batmobiles.
Yeah, there's actually a shit ton. So
Yeah, there's a shit ton, across comic and media and movies and everything. But I had a few honorable mentions. One, I will throw the Rob Pattinson, the Batman Batmobile out there as an honorable mention, just because I do think it kind of sticks out in the Batmobiles that come to mind as a new take that doesn't suck. And if it's in a movie that kind of grounds it, it could be pretty nice. The other couple I wanted to throw out, the 1941 Batmobile, the huge back fin with the bat face, kind of Batman face on the front grille. Still, there were these big, huge teardrop fenders and kind of that gorgeous 40s, curve of the overall sedan, or coupe, I guess. But I like that one. And then the last one is actually prime 1987 Jason Todd stealing the wheel off of the kind of Lamborghini Countach looking Batmobile. Those are the ones that kind of, I love them. They don't count as my favorites, but they're up there for me.
nice. Chris, any honorable mentions?
I got 2 honorable mentions. One, the 89 Keaton Batmobile.
Okay.
That's always going to make the list just for that was the first big screen Batman. I mean, it's going back to the childhood and waiting so long for that. So they could have put him in a clown car, and that was going to make my list because I'd waited for so long.
He's in a Dodge Dart.
I'm also going to throw the Pattinson Batmobile in there for slightly different reasons than Sean. That the styling of this Batmobile comes direct in my mind. The first thing I thought of when I saw it was 2 particular artists that I've seen do similar things with it. Sean Gordon Murphy has done Batmobiles very much in that realistic car style, which I've always loved that take on it. And Francesco Francavilla, I believe is how you pronounce his last name.
Francavilla, yeah, Francavilla.
He had a run of like 1970s Batman. He did a whole print series of Batman through the decades with the various cars that he would have in each one. And it was like a Rolls Royce in one. But there's a 72 that is that American muscle car Batmobile. And that's the first thing I thought of was going back to that print. Batman with a lower profile ears, standing next to the muscle car. It was very similar. I mean, obviously they've tricked out the back end of this one, but it clearly has that muscle car feel to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
How about you, DJ?
I also had the 89 Batmobile just for the same reasons. Like, oh my God, there's the Batmobile.
Batmobile.
And also, I'm going to go with the Super Friends Batmobile. Just because I have such fond memories of playing with the toy for it, the Superpowers one.
Yep.
Completely
forgot about the Super Friends.
Yeah, that was a good one. So
Excellent. Sean, what do you get for number 3?
So my number 3 kind of surprised me as I went through it, but the Batman vs Superman Batfleck Batmobile, the gray kind of hulking, almost off-roady looking, I don't know how better to describe it. But I just found, possibly because of my love for the casting and the revealing of the Batfleck suit along with that Batmobile kind of early on, just kind of anchors for me. It's a modern take that felt pretty good to me. So that, the Batman v Superman growler.
Excellent. For my number 3, I'm going to lean much into that 89 Batman vein. I'm going back to the first not the first, but I think the best depiction of Batman in cartoons and in animation.
Mhm.
And I'm going with the animated series Batmobile.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's for many of the same reasons we had the 89. That's hit me right at the start of college. The first true, I love the Super Friends. Paula Justice is sitting on the shelf over there, for God's sakes. But this is the first time they took a serious take on the Batman character in an ongoing animated series. And I just love that concept of the elongated Batmobile. It played in that world so well with that imagery. So I'm going animated series.
Nice. So I also went with a cartoon Batmobile for number 3, but I went with the Batmobile from The Batman. So animated series had like your almost like a Rolls Royce Phantom kind of shape to it,
longer nose,
and they kind of kept that for the Batman, but they went a little more towards that shape with what you got like with the Affleck Batmobile, a little meaner, looked a little bit more. The Batmobile animated series was gorgeous, but it looked just like a really nice, expensive car. This one looked a little more Batmobile-y to me. That's like a cartoon. Athena got into it a lot too. It was actually a good show. People bitched because they changed Joker and made him different and everything, but it wasn't bad.
I didn't find an appreciation for it until later because it wasn't my animated series Batman.
Oh, of course. Of course not.
It took me a little while to get into it.
I don't know if I ever saw that one, actually.
It was really good.
You'll enjoy the show.
Yeah.
You will.
It was a good show. That's when they started doing Penguin, like Penguin could fight and stuff like that. But that Batmobile, it had that animated series look, just with a little more like functional, like mean car to it. So I'm going.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. So was that was your number 3?
Yes, number 3. We're on 2.
So my number 2's already been mentioned, but for me, the '89 Batmobile is definitely up there. Partly because it was one of the first times in decades that a real instantiation of a Batmobile had come into being, right? Outside the comics, outside of animated series. And while it was definitely fantastical, it did not look like a practical vehicle. It still really rocked and, fit within the marketing and the hype around that movie pre-internet. We've discussed it a million times. But it's tough not to love that, sleek beast with its side guns and
wait. Batman uses
cockpit.
guns? Batman don't shoot people. Believe it had bombs too, no? I'm sorry.
Batman doesn't people. Batman's guns kill people. No,
it's horrible.
I screwed that up, but you get the point.
Batman doesn't people? No, Batman doesn't people.
Which is a good thing, because otherwise Jen would hate him.
Excellent tag, sir.
Yeah. 89 Batman, number 2.
Jen, can Sean come out of timeout now, please? We miss him. All right. DJ, it looked like he was ready to say something, but he'll let it go. My number 2 has already been mentioned as well. Mine is the Batfleck Batmobile.
Tag up. Mine is also the Batfleck Batmobile.
It's probably for many of the same reasons that you said, Sean. I love the casting. He's still my favorite cinematic Batman. Mm-hmm. I think he embodied the character the best. And it was seeing that image of him in costume standing next to the Batmobile. And it kind of played into a couple different things. You had a Tumblr aspect to it. It kind of played more into the video game aspects of it.
The car looked mean as fuck.
It did.
Yeah.
The whole thing. It looked like what a rich guy would build if he was trying to build a battle cruiser.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the side guns, the whole thing.
Looks a little almost a little like X-Wing fighter kind of too. Had a little bit of that pull for
the shots of him like blowing through the ship as he's coming through the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think that with the Batmobile also, like fuck the Tumblr. I hate that thing, but
it served a purpose. It turns into a motorcycle.
That's true. Yeah, it shoots a motorcycle out of it. In the 2 movies we saw it in, BVS and Justice League, car was super functional. He uses the car a lot in those 2 movies.
Yeah, he uses it as a tool.
Yeah, exactly. And, it did some cool stuff. Like it went one-on-one with Superman until it got ripped to pieces.
Are you trying to say that Zach actually thought this out before designing the car?
Maybe.
Snyder Cut.
Schneider cut.
So before we jump into number one,
which is probably going to be
I have a sneaking
universal.
suspicion we're all the exact same car. So
Probably.
on the count
though
of,
I have a tweak. But okay, go ahead.
On the count of three, everyone say your number one Batmobile. 1, 2, 3. 66 Batmobile.
66 Batmobile. Yes,
Yeah.
no question. But I realized when I thought about it, that kind of for me anchored with it, and you already mentioned it, DJ, is the Super Friends Batmobile, right? The dual clear cockpit, the open, the open cockpit with the window, with the bulbs, the open bulb windows. But yes, how can you not? I mean, that defined it for us as kids, or at least it did for me.
Nope, same.
I saw,
Certainly, yeah.
yeah. I was both watching Batman 66 reruns and Super Friends every weekend. And so they were kind of just, one was the real one was the blue, simpler animated one, but they both anchored Batman for me and the Batmobile. So I'm not surprised you guys smartly agree there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you approve. I mean,
Yeah.
smartly.
It's for me, it's not only my favorite Batmobile. It's my favorite possibly cinematic car ever.
Yeah.
Like if I ever hit the lottery and I could buy one thing, I'd buy a 66
iconic,
Batmobile
yeah.
replica. Yeah, it's like better than any of the James Bond cars, anything. I can't buy a Millennium Falcon, so I would buy a Batmobile.
The one thing that watching Comic Book Man I would have geeked out over.
Oh, yeah.
Not the car.
Yeah.
To have the Batmobile pull up.
When it's at the shows, I'd sit there and
That's
just
the first thing.
drool over it. Like it's just, I love it. Even the replicas are it's just, I don't know. It's just,
It brings you back to the time when you were a kid.
like you said,
It's-
I think Chris said it before. I like to look at stuff that makes me happy, and that car just makes me 5 years old again.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes me
Kinda
happy.
Yes.
Kind of the goal of life. Surround yourself with things that make you happy.
I like Batman. Excellent.
Which is shocking why you never leave the house, Sean.
He has spreadsheets at home. Sean likes to look at spreadsheets.
He does. He does.
I do. I don't have a giant, wide curved monitor for spreadsheets, though. Unlike one of us,
Well,
I'm tempted.
it is well worth you working in that purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get one for my
planned.
when they buy our work from home setups. I want one for my house. So
It just makes it so much easier than have multiple monitors. Or
yeah, I don't do as much spreadsheet work as you do, but for VMware and stuff, it'd be nice. So
Oh yeah.
okay, so DJ didn't write nothing down. So Sean, what was cap it back?
2 weeks in a row.
So I had the Batman versus Superman / Justice League Batmobile, the '89 Keaton Batmobile, and then Batman 66 / Super Friends 73 Batmobiles.
Mr. Davis,
Oh, I like that he tagged up the year for the Super Friends, too.
look at
That
that.
was nice. On the 3 spot, I went the animated series Batmobile. 2, the Batfleck BVS Justice League Batmobile. And in the 1 spot, same as Sean, the 1966 Batman.
And almost identical to Chris's list, I had the Batmobile from the Batman animated series, not Batman animated series, but the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. The Batman. I had the Batfleck Mobile number 2, and Adam West 66 Batmobile at number 1. Excellent.
Nice.
That was fun. So once again, I'd like to thank our special guest today, the Dunner of Dishes, Mr. Keith Coogan. Thank you for calling in, Keith.
Big shout out to
Appreciate it.
Keith.
Yep.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah. And thank you to Mrs. Hogarty for letting Sean come out and play on the Skype for about half an hour.
Sean, you can leave the closet now. Okay. You can go rejoin your family.
Yeah, I will.
He's chained up like Carrie Elwes and Saw to the friggin' radiator in the basement.
It puts the lotion in the basket.
Yeah, it's not as fun talking to you guys remotely, but I'm glad I was able to at least get 1 degree of separation away from Keith in the interview, and hopefully I'll get a chance to meet him one of these days. But thanks for having me on, gentlemen.
No problem. And at least now we know this works. So in a pinch, if we need to do something, this actually
can
does
dial
not
it up
sound bad at all.
No.
I'll be the judge of that.
That's true. Sean's highly trained audiophonic ears be like, this sucks. Anyway, so thank you again, everyone. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at FMen37. Subscribe to us on YouTube now, FANMEN Podcast on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. iTunes, Google Play, iHeart, Stitcher, anywhere like that.
Are you going to be doing live video blogs from the Closetron?
Ooh, there we go.
Just hiding in the dark, a little backlit.
I'm taking it too.
Thanks, everyone.
Be gentle, Jen. See ya.
Have a good one.